case is different. Every family's different. One thing that's always the same is the fear. You can see it in their eyes. And a demon will prey on that, try to isolate them, use their fears against them.
We do have vampires around us. Crucial 13, that's what's up. Shout out to you.
I feel like every time Crucial ever talked, it was making mad sense.
Get Crucial.
Hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this.
Look at it. This is the city I'm in right now.
Okay, so this new Conjuring movie that I seen just the other night had a few good spiritual messages in it, pertaining to fear. Now I'm about to break down why spiritually you have to, overcome fears, because that is exactly how these energy vampires play against you. And as you see on the screen right there, they're using the exorcist guy as a prop. They're using the holy water as a prop. Now, one of my nieces actually was really scared about this, and I'm telling her, like, man, that's just, how they hype up the movie and all that. She's telling me that she thinks she's going to get possessed going to see this movie. And this stuff really does play on, like, young people, just like when I was young and I thought horror movies was real and all that stuff. But the fear tactic itself is very real, because these things move amongst us. They move by the laws of the frequencies. So if you know what frequency vibration is, the highest frequency is peace, love, and everything good, right? And the lowest frequency is, anything under fear and, fear, shame, guilt, all this negative stuff. It's all negativity. But if they can keep you in a fear frequency, it's almost like them opening up a door to go, inside your temple, which is your body, which, they can access your mind. Once you start thinking about certain things, that's how they can play on you the most. And in this movie, I find it real cool that they kind of taught about this. When the daughter was seeing and hearing stuff, her mom taught her a little mantra to say, which was telling her that you're not real, you're not there, which was a way to ease her mind from thinking about these things. And it even works like that when you're not like thinking about horror movies or scary stuff. It works like that when you play sports or when you do anything. Whenever you have like a fear that, I'm gonna miss this shot, like if you play basketball or something, if you think about it, if you're thinking too much, you're not going to do well. And that's a sign that these things could disrupt you from doing what you want to do. But when you just tune everything out and focus and go tunnel vision, tunnel mode, and just start being, like we're called human beings, right? Like when we're just being and not worrying about nothing, we're just in the present moment, we're like way more efficient and we're better at anything we do. And this planet has gotten so infested with these things, though, that the best way, and this is psychology, this is what psychologists, psychiatrists will teach you and tell you, that you have to really confront a lot of this stuff in order to truly accept it for what it is and move past it. Because the more we like just ignore it while we still fear it, they can keep, barging in because you still have fear. So ignoring it doesn't really help because you still have the fear of it. And in this movie, they show you that. At the end, see, in the mantra she was telling her daughter throughout the whole movie was saying, just forget about it. You got to tune them out. You got to shut them out. It didn't work for her because she still had fear of it. So at the end of the movie, the mom finally tells her, don't shut them out. You have to face it. So she ended up facing it. And then she was then able to, conquer it and start fighting back up against it because she faced it. She said, it's just like facing your fears to get over it. She faced it and conquered it the same way you all have to do. Real quick, look at that full moon right now. It is my birthday today, and I luckily get a full moon. So yeah, while we talking about The Conjuring, that's pretty cool. So people got to realize, like, you're really a spiritual being and you're really an efficient being, meaning that you can do anything you want to do. And these things on the planet, energy vampires, demons, whatever you call it, their mission is to just harvest energy from us. They're like leeches, mosquitoes, like, you know, they're here for the blood. They're here for the energy. So you're an efficient being at heart. Okay, so any type of fear you have can disrupt that. Like I said, the sports thing, it'll disrupt you from doing that. Like, and it works like that in anything. Even when you're just trying to manifest something in life, when you want to manifest, I ain't talking about magic or none of that shit. I'm talking about, well, you are a magical being, but I'm not talking about the way they spend it, you know, to be an evil, bad thing. You can manifest anything you want in life, but you can't do it with fears. So they're the ones that get in the way of you becoming something, you know, and there's a system set, you know, in the government or whatever, and I ain't talking about just like capitalism and all that. I'm talking about these people that teach you to be victims, that teach you to, you know, always blame somebody. That mind state cannot help you manifest something. So that's why I always say certain parts of the government and certain parts of society that teach you to be a victim and blame somebody else for your shortcomings are energy vampires. They're here to keep you in that state where you can't manifest nothing. So whenever somebody tells you you can't do something, you know exactly what spirit is behind them people. It's energy vampires. So you be in your natural state, you know, being able to manifest anything you want because you're just a powerful being like that, you know, being told that you can't do something is definitely an energy vampire at play. So you have to understand fear on all different levels. You can't just think fear is somebody hopping out saying boo, trying to scare you. A fear could be me just thinking that the system is against me or thinking that somebody can hold me back from something. That is a form of a fear. And the more that's planted in your mind, you're never going to do anything, because now what that does to you is, now that they planted the thought in your mind and taught you to be a victim, you're going to convince yourself that you can't do it. Now it's not just them doing it, you're helping them do it by even thinking them type of thoughts. And then it'll enable you to be, you know, undesirable at the same time. So you'll start justifying why you fall short. Like anybody who does drugs or anybody who, you know, just doesn't really desire much in life, they're going to start blaming other people for why they aren't, knowing that their self is the one keeping them down. But there is a spirit behind that, but they kind of beat you down so much to where you're helping them now. You know, people like that are definitely under mind control, under this energy vampire, this parasitic entity that is just harvesting their life force. They're almost sucked dry of their energy. And they teach a lot of this in psychology and all that type of stuff. But what psychologists don't do is teach you about the entities behind this stuff. They will liken it to just yourself, your lower self, or this. No, these are actual beings on the planet. These things are real, you know, I would say forces, but they're not forces. You know, they're the opposite of that. They harvest the light. They aren't the light. We are the force. They're the opposite of that. They're just siphoning our energy. You know, these are real demonic beings. These things really exist. So, you know, I've always been like into this type of stuff. So in my spiritual journey or whatever, I learned, okay, demons are real. And then I started learning about psychology and spirituality. Then I started thinking, oh, okay, that's just my lower self. That's just this. But then the deeper I go on that, I find out, oh shit, my lower self is these things, you know, pulling me down or whatever like that. So you go from believing in this stuff, then you go to learning the lower self and the psychology and the spirituality and thinking, okay, there's no such thing as God or the devil. It's just my lower self and it's just my negative side and all this stuff. But then the more you go in that, you start learning that it is entities behind all this stuff. There is God, there is the devil, there is the Most High. you know, there is energy vampires. So, you know, it's just very interesting how that works out. You know, how the journey works out. You know, and I just had to break that down so people understand how I came to where I came to. Really had a run-in with demons and, you know, energy vampires, things that I've seen with my own eyes, you know, things that are really there, forces that are really there, or anti-forces, whatever we want to call it. You know, and me figuring this stuff out and running into this stuff is what made me try to figure out how to neutralize them, which is how I start figuring out, okay, got to be outside, closer to nature, you know how it was really made to be natural. You know, you got to start eating right, staying away from drugs. Definitely stay away from drugs, because them are like, some people say them are gateways, man. Them are demons themselves. You put that shit right in your body, you're going to definitely be inhabited by these things. So drinking, all that type of stuff, stay away from that. Exercise, you know, you got to work out these things. That's what, like, what's in there that has to come out is what you got to ask yourself. You're working something out. You know, definitely eating right and staying away from these bad foods that they put in there on purpose, because your government definitely sold you out to some interdimensional lower beings. All right, so you got to remember that. You know, there's not just being aware of these things is enough. You have to take action to keep your temple clean. Your body's a temple, so what you want to do is keep it clean. Figure out how to keep it clean. That's the mission right now, all right? So thanks everybody who tuned into this video on this full moon, September 8th, my birthday, 36 years old, you know. And stay tuned for the next one. Peace, love, 13.
We do have vampires around us. Crucial 13, that's what's up. Shout out to you.
I feel like every time Crucial ever talked, it was making mad sense.
Get crucial. I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this. Look at it. This is the city I'm in right now.